Überall. Ich war mir. Brauch. Lohn. Verlangt. Bleiben. Nimmer. Abgeschafft. Nicht ver. Gelangt. Nicht kein Stein. Fern ist Meek. Das ist echt lang. Verdient. Die alte Aufraum. Über sich so ich mal glauben will. Das ist ugly. Das ist gut vor. Ja, cool. Teufels. Aber mit der Speziellen. Gerne. Das Thema der Komm. Auf. Krieg und Karte. Ja, mit dem Anlass. Mit darin. Ich darf gehen. Und Stein. Alles in uns zwischen. Das Haus. Angriff. Uns. Jodlichen. Da war ich allein. Was ich Stein nicht zu. Sie. Norden. Alle nicht. Steineration. Da dran. Mein Fürst. Punk. Kleine Steinslaufen. Schwanz. Der Feind. Mein Führer. Steine. In dem Osten. Kräfte breit auf. Was hier? Die Genüge. Im Sigmund. Was sind das? Ja, noch aber nach Hand. Oh, und bis am Laut. Und bis zu Angriffen. Das ist der Fall. Ich verliert jetzt die Front der sagen, von die Soldaten aufgelungen Linie. Sie verbreitet fest unsere Nagel. Sie ist weg. Sie ist ein eigenes Werk. Dein was war das? Dein von der ist mit Diamantarien angeleitet. Alle haben das Militär was? Ich will auch wieder. Der Fahrer. Ich sage nur, ich sage,
Here is the newspaper from today, and I've chosen 3 sentences. Each sentence contains a number, and the idea is to aestheticize this sentence by just using this number and making any musical action exactly this amount of this number. Here's our first sentence. Zamboanga City, at least 25 persons were rescued from several vessels that got caught in huge waves and strong winds brought by a low-pressure area near coastal villages here and in Zulu. So 25 is the number, and let's see what we can do. Experts Fukushima contamination data are wrong. Maybe 120% of levels reported by government and TEPCO. 120 is our number. At least 12 people have been killed in a shooting at a naval installation in Washington, D.C. Maybe we can do that together. Let's sing a tone. Pa, 12 times. Pa, 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 These are the complete Beethoven symphonies, played in 1 second. These are all Beatles songs ever released, played in 1/10 of a second. That's Marcel Proust à la recherche du temps perdu, the audiobook, played in 1 second. These are 130,000 songs, played in 4 seconds. That's the entire audio track of Rambo 3, played in 1/3 of a second. That's the entire audio track from a porn video, played in 1/3 of a second. That's the entire, that's Britney Spears' Baby One More Time, played 10 times in 1 second. That's Britney Spears' Gimme More, played 400 times in 1 second. This is Fatima Habibi, an Iranian who fled to Germany as a political refugee, but he wasn't accepted. So he took flight and had been living for several weeks in Berlin at a friend's place. That's a high pitch played through the Adam's apple of the illegal immigrant Fat Muhabebi 3 days before his detention and deportation. And that's the same high pitch played through the Adam's apple of Fat Muhabebi in Tehran after his deportation and half a year of imprisonment. These are stock reports from thousands of banks transformed into video game melodies. That's the Pope played using a condom as a speaker membrane. Next, that's the Bible as an audiobook, played in 1/3 of a second. That's the Quran as an audiobook, played in 1/3 of a second. That's the Torah as an audiobook, played in 1/3 of a second. And that's the complete works of Friedrich Nietzsche as an audiobook, played in 1/3 of a second. And that's the Bible, Quran, Torah, and Nietzsche at the same time. That's Immanuel Kant, Critique of Pure Reason, played 20,000 times in 1 second, which means only audible to bats. That's the recording of an explosion played at a speed determined by the death toll in the Iraq War as of 1st April 2014, 1 microsecond for every death. And this is Adolf Hitler pronouncing the word Reich 12 times slower than the original speed. That's the code for illegally ripping DVDs, read as a waveform. And here's a completely neutral tone, devoid of all meaning. it's very interesting that 3 days ago, I've made a performance where I used this sentence of Jacques Derrida out of his book Truth in Painting, and he refers to Immanuel Kant, and Kant is talking about the tulip, and the sentence I took then from Derrida was the sentence, this tulip of which I am speaking and which I replace in speaking. And I've repeated this sentence again and again and again. And now, for me, interesting was that now I received the information that, I mean, it was a bit strange. Why are you talking about tulips? I mean, if you're talking about beauty, the flower par excellence, of course, is the rose, I would say. But they don't talk about the rose, but about tulips. And it's about the judgment of beauty, which is on the one hand can be purely a subjective judgment, but the example of the tulip is as an example which is a sort of what Kant calls a logical judgment on beauty, because we all agree that a tulip, for example, is beautiful. And Derrida now takes this is only 2 sentences of Kant where Kant talks about the tulip, and Derrida then speaks about 40 or 50 pages long about the tulip, again and again about the tulip, about the beauty of the tulip, but this very typical phrase of Derrida that by speaking about the tulip, he's replacing the tulip. But on the other hand, the tulip is irreplaceable because it is still so beautiful. But to me, it was awkward. Why are they talking about tulips? Why not about roses? And now I heard that in 1637 there was the first economic bubble in modern economy history. And that was in Holland, in the so-called golden age of Holland economy. That's also the age where these famous painters like Vermeer or Rubens worked. And in 1637 was the first, so to say, stock market crash, the first bubble. And this bubble occurred because of the trade with tulips. The tulip has become really a big fashion in Holland, but the problem is the tulip is 10 months of the year it is in the ground, and only then we know what will come up. And so this became really a speculation object, because the tulips were very beautiful, but you never knew what will come up, and this created a huge bubble. In the end, people wanted to pay for a tulip which they didn't know how it will look like. They paid what today would be over $1 million. And of course, when the speculation starts, then there are people who just invest into speculation. They're not really interested anymore in any tulips. They only invest in the option that someone else will again pay more and more and more. And then this bubble, of course, created, and in the end it crashed. That was the first well-documented economic crash because of the speculation on beauty. And I thought, well, that's a very interesting, so to say, a founding myth of economic crashes. And it leads, for example, to Marilyn Monroe. There's also kind of the excess of beauty. That's the filtered bubble, the hot air coming from the ground. And it leads to the death of Marilyn Monroe. That's the beautiful death of Marilyn Monroe. And also to this story of this Chinese man who sued his wife because she gave birth to very ugly children. He was successful but the reason is, come on, you can't sue this, because she had several surgeries before the wedding and he didn't know about that. But the truth only came up when she then gave birth to these children. So again, this fail of speculation on beauty. And here is Chicago House. And here's Garage House. And here's Tech House. And come on now, shake your ass, come on, this is Acid House. That's the functional specialization of society, is Afro House. And this is Deep House. This is Disco House. And here's Dutch House. Come on, hands in the air, hands in the air. And this is Electro House. Come on, shake your hands, shake your hands. And here's French House. And here's Funky House. And here's Hard House. And first I'm entering, here's Euroband and hands in the air. This is Ghetto Tech House. Here's Ibiza House, also called Balearic House. Here's Kaito House or Afro House. And here's Latin House. Come on, shake your ass. Here's Micro House. Here's Minimal House. Speed Garage House. This is Progressive House. This is Tribal House. Here's Two-Step House. Vocal House. Old School House. Hip House. And here's Classic House. Come on, hands in the air. Here's Indie House. Fair House. Dirty House. And Filter House. Moon Button House. And here's New Beat House. New Style House. And here's UK Garage House. And here's Swedish House. And French Filter House. What? What is that? Breakdown. And here's New York House. And here's US American Hard House. Yeah. And here's Jump Style House. No. I'm sorry, there's so many. It's over 40. Deep Dark Tribal House, also called Underground House. You can still dance to it. Big Beat House and New House. New Breaks House. And Liquid Architecture House. And here's Brisbane House. And here's Sydney House. And here's Melbourne House.